Hello, my name is Jeff Lovejoy, and I'm a certified business coach with Action Coach. And today we're talking with David McDonough, owner of Modern Image Atlanta. Hi, David.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for taking some time to share your insights that you've gained coming out of or not out of, but going through the whole COVID situation. David, give us a little background on the company. Tell me about Modern Image.
Yes, so we're a document and photograph scanning company. It's definitely a niche company. It's definitely half the people, when I tell them what I do, they kind of say, what, really? But it's an offshoot. I had a recycling company for a long time in New Orleans, and I was thinking about diversifying that company and actually getting into paper shredding. And in talking to a former college roommate who had a business doing document and photograph scanning, I sort of realized that that was a better avenue. It took advantage of I've got a graduate degree in organizational design and change management and computer systems. So it takes advantage of that and really allows me, I've got experience as a consultant. It allows me to be in a consulting role rather than strictly a commodity service providing role. So I really enjoy those aspects of it.
Got it. And so you scan, and then do you also store paper for clients?
Yeah, we do. That's something that we're getting into right now. We're sort of exploring what that looks like and what sort of physical space and security. We have the ability to store several hundred boxes here, and we're starting to fill that up. But we can store what people need stored. We can shred what they need shredded, and we can scan what they need scanned. And for a lot of clients, there's a balancing act between those three as to the best way to approach the project.
Got it. Excellent.
Yeah.
So how long you've been doing this?
We have been doing this for going on 8 years now.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So David, who's the target market? Where's the sweet spot when you're out marketing?
That's a strange, there are a few niches that I can identify and tell you, but the characteristics, HOA management companies, property managers, adoption agencies, we're doing a lot of work with law firms who need to share files or who litigate, need to search and do e-discovery. But the characteristics they all share is the paper has to be important and they have to go to it fairly regularly. Because if it's important but they never go to it, they should put it in storage. It's much less expensive. But if it's important and they're going to go to it fairly regularly, you could quickly eclipse the cost of storing documents by the retrieval fees. So what scanning allows you to do is just one time and you're done. It's over with. The documents are secure. You can put them behind a document management system if you need to get security around them. You can share them very easily, and it's just for a lot of people, it gives them the flexibility to have remote work and to know that everything is secure. They can get to what they want, but it's put away in a safe manner.
I see. And so it sounds like the bigger the company, the better?
Well, some of the bigger probably have scanning departments on their own, especially some of the bigger law firms, some of the bigger property management firms. Even there, I love advising people who are doing their own scanning to help them understand if there's improvements to equipment or software or process that we can help them with. Consulting is my real passion, not just giving somebody an invoice. So it's definitely we've worked for MARTA, we've worked for several big law firms and property management firms, and Emory we had projects with. But we also have a client that we pick up 2 boxes from every quarter. And I enjoy them all. I enjoy working with them and helping them achieve breakthroughs or achieve progress in their business.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for that. So David, what's been the impact on Modern Image from COVID?
Well, we were very fortunate in that spring is always busy for us. The beginning of the year, it's fresh start, new initiatives, last year's records out of the way, that sort of thing. So we had a lot of boxes in here for 3 different accounts that we work with every January. And then we had a school district in Chicago I flew up to Chicago in the middle of March, which was probably a little bit late, but I got there the day they were closing the school and put their records in a minivan and drove them back to Atlanta. So we had several months worth of paper to scan. So we stayed there, at the time there were 3 of us in the office, 4 of us, and we stayed in our own rooms, and we washed hands and sprayed everything down and really did everything you need to do to provide a safe work environment. And I was a little concerned. I thought on the one hand that we may see an uptick in business as people wanted to work more remotely and facilitate remote working and sharing, certainly those types of things that we can help with. But I was also concerned that a lot of companies would say, well, if it's not mission critical, we're not spending a nickel on it until we know where we're going. And the reality of it is that we have seen a lot of requests and we're helping people plan projects. And some of them are coming through to facilitate, to meet an immediate need. And a lot of them are, okay, we've got the information. Now we're going to wait and see what happens over the next few weeks, months, and see if this is a direction we need to go in. So it's been, I'm cautiously optimistic that we have, that we're providing a service that people need at a time when it's maybe more recognized than it was a year ago. I think a lot of people not using Zoom, not using, the chat calls and the video conferencing and everything else. I think people were reluctant to get into remote working scenarios. But now that I think they've got a couple of months under their belt with their staff and they see that things are, can operate that way, I expect that we'll see more interest in what we do.
Excellent. Excellent. So is there a problem with people being remote from where the files are? Is that an obstacle that you have to try to overcome, that they're not in the office now?
Yeah, there's really, it became so clear to me a few years ago that I put it on the back of my business card. There's really 4 main reasons that people would hire us, and in no particular order. It depends on the client: storage, search, security, and compliance. So we've got a closing attorney that we work with, and they're in a real high-end office with a builder, and they really, really like it, and they don't want to move. But their file room is small, and it fills up on a regular basis. So when it fills up, they call us, and we go empty it out, and we scan all their closing files, and we give them back to them on digital format, so that if they need to get to them, they can easily refer back to that document and pull up a closing statement or a check stub or whatever they need to show, whatever they would have needed to go to that file for. Search, a good example of that is a law firm that we work with. They do prisoner rights cases, death row appeals. They call on experts from around the country and around the world. So they have the ability we've given them an encrypted folder, an encrypted storage area on the cloud, and they can share that folder or specific files or whatever they need to with other experts, paralegals, character witnesses or subject matter experts anywhere. And they can look through the files, they can search on typed data, and they can really sink their teeth into it. Whereas in the old days, quote unquote, there would be a big conference room with boxes spread all over the place and paralegals digging through trying to look for something significant. So it really does help them. Security, the adoption records we just picked up were in a shared warehouse space that several programs have started using that now as a result of COVID. It was more or less obsolete storage, but as they needed it for other things, they realized that they could no longer keep those documents in there, and they have to keep those documents for the life of the document, the life of the child. So for them, security was the big issue. So it really depends on the situation, but those are the types of things that we help people with.
Got it. And so it sounds like you're not limited just to Metro Atlanta. I mean, you talked about Chicago. I know you go down to New Orleans every once in a while.
Yep. Chicago, New Orleans. We had a client in Mobile. We've got a client in South Carolina that may go with us. We've got one in Roanoke, Virginia. Good. Same type of thing. It's just, we offer, our pricing is very fair. And there's a lot more that we offer other than just a commodity, take this stack of paper and hand me a PDF. I really do like rolling up my sleeves and digging in with the client and helping them solve a problem, not just kind of, selling them what I sell.
Right. So has COVID reduced the number of inbound phone calls? Are the leads down? No.
They're up.
We used to get,
Yeah, we used to get 4 or 5 calls a week, and we probably get, again, in the first, April and May, March, April, the first half of May, we might have gotten 5 phone calls. I was really worried. But since then, we've seen a real uptick. I think as people sort of, as they take a breath and kind of look around and realize that this thing might not be just a, flatten the curve and get out and everything's back to normal. It looks like it's rebounding now, and it looks like there's, we're gonna be with this for a little while. So
Right.
I think people now are exploring their options and starting to consider what else they can do rather than move back into the old office space.
Got it. Okay. Well, congrats. That's exciting that business is up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So so you really haven't had to do any pivoting. You really haven't, was your focus different in those months, those early stages of COVID where the phone wasn't ringing as much? Did you focus internally more or what?
Yeah. More on process. I've been working with you for a while, and I'm gonna kind of turn the tables now. I've been working with you for a while, and I felt like I had a roadmap in place, and that sales drove that roadmap. That when I hit this level, I would know what to do next, and when I hit this level, I would need to know, I would know what to do next. So as we moved through these various milestones, we had a lot of paper piled up here, but it wasn't critical. It was one of those things you can take as long as you need to deliver it. Yep. And then we'd pick up another job, and they'd say, well, it's not critical, and another one. And then all of a sudden we had a lot of paper back there to scan. So we added staff, we added scanning capability, and we've just sort of gradually been ramping up and making sure that the pipeline warrants that and that keeps it going. One area that we did pivot a little bit was that we had considered the storage option. We had considered before COVID offering storage, and we had a limited capability back there, and it was sort of a wait and see approach as to whether or not, what would people be doing? Would this change the way people are doing business, or we didn't want to jump too fast, but we wanted to make sure that we knew what all of our options were.
Sure.
And as we started to get phone calls about, well, we're going to close the office, but we're going to keep the staff, we're going to work remotely. And I talked to them about what the records were, and it became apparent to me that as I'm always quick to do, talking to the client about what's the problem, what's the most economic way to reach the goals. And I realized that scanning the majority of what people had was not what they needed, that we needed to offer another option. And I think before COVID, I didn't consider it as strongly because the project was, get these 10 boxes out of here. We'll worry about those 20 later. Well, now we're closing the office. We got these 30 boxes. What do we need to do? So I have sort of accelerated that part of the plan in order to meet the phone calls and to sort of hit the strong points that we've been hearing about.
Yeah. Has it been more challenging in terms of a lot of times they're not in the offices? Does that present problems in terms of picking up boxes and no? Okay, good.
It's, the school district in Chicago sent me a ton of pictures of their boxes and their files. So I was able to provide a pretty good estimate for them. I have a pretty good idea. If somebody sends me a picture of what they have, whether it's in filing cabinets or boxes or shelves or whatever else, I can give them a pretty good estimate of what's there. And quite the opposite. It's been, 3 of my clients said, oh, that's fantastic. I know I don't even have to be there. I'm going to let building security know you're coming, and it's those 10 boxes in the corner of my office, and get those. And it's been not that much of an interruption, honestly.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. So, all right. So David, it's been said that smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from other people's mistakes. Have there been mistakes that you've made over this time that you learned from, and you think that sharing would benefit any of the other business owners that are listening?
Let's see, your choices were smart and wise. I think I'd put myself in the smart category, not the wise, unfortunately. I think, you know, one of the things that I've seen, I do a lot of work with BNI. So I've worked with a lot of other people's businesses. And I came, while I wasn't living in New Orleans, my business was there at the time of Katrina, and my parents lived there and lost a house. And I had a lot of friends and a lot of business associates who were there. And I think one of the things that's come out to me the strongest in both of these is that you just have to worry about the things you can control, and try and understand better the things that you can't control, but don't worry about them. You know, it's a waste of mental energy, and it keeps you from focusing on the positive things. You know, I've been very fortunate in this. So this is not my lesson, but I do know, you know, another business, a catering company, who pivoted to at-home delivery of meals and has opened another part of their business that's going to survive even post-COVID. Primarily, they did wedding season and holidays.
Yep.
So their revenue was like this, and then
Yeah.
it was like a camelback.
Yeah.
So now this business is going to allow them to flatten out and have two peaks in there instead of these deep troughs. And I think that you know, the saying, I need to recognize, you know, worry about the things that I can control and not the things that I can't.
Right.
Never more truer words are spoken than when something like this happens. You know, I think you have to be patient and step back and look at your business and look at your clients and say, what else do my clients need? What's going on in their world? For me, it was storage. What else do they need right now that they didn't need 6 months ago? And you know, I think if you put yourself in the shoes of your client, everybody wants to solve problems with as little effort as possible. So if you can better understand what their problem is, and maybe even some associated problems, and get some resources around you. We've been working real closely with a shredding company so that they can come in and shred the stuff that people don't need, and we can take away the stuff and either store it or scan it. And being able to make that one phone call and say, I've got this problem that has these 4 subcomponents. And I say, don't worry, I've got all 4 of those subcomponents covered. You know, it gives them a peace of mind, and it allows me to know that I'm really providing a higher level of service and a higher, you know, a higher utility to my clients. I'm more useful to them.
So I guess just in wrapping up the whole summary of the discussion around COVID, it hasn't really impacted you in any negative way, and perhaps a positive way, but that you were able to stay strategic and to recognize an opportunity that presented itself around storage, and that is an opportunity that, you know, when people think about pivoting, I think some of them think that my business is changing forever. You know, when I pivot, I'm getting rid of what I used to do. In your case, that's nowhere near the case. You're just expanding your product offering now by offering storage capabilities. So, so kudos to you for kind of being at that strategic level and not being down in the pits, kind of doing the work of, so that you could think about and recognize opportunities. So good for you.
I know you coached me on that, but the reason I look like I need a shower is because I picked up 200 boxes this morning. So I'm still working on it. I'm trying to work on it more than in it, but I'm still working in it for sure.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
David, how can people reach out to you and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the website is modernimageatlanta.com. The phone number is 404-835-7239. We have a Facebook page. I think I put some things up there from time to time. And that's really the easiest. Through the website, there's a contact form, modernimageatlanta.com.
All right, excellent, excellent. And last question for you is, what inspires you these days?
Helping other people, honestly. I really enjoy that. I really get more satisfaction almost out of helping somebody solve their problem. You know, if I go into a client and they say, here, we got these boxes, and I'll never look at them and just get them out of here and scan them, that's fine. I love the situations that are really sticky and that need to be unwrapped a little bit and worked out a little bit. I enjoy helping people, especially when it's unexpected. And I'm inspired when I see other people doing it. And there's a lot of negative going on, but if you look below the surface, there's an awful lot of positive happening right now too.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thanks very much, David. Appreciate your comments and sharing those insights with us. They're very valuable, and I'm sure some of the listeners will get a lot of value out of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All the best.
Take care.